Mexican workers with quality work. Thrilled that Mexico is America's #1 trading partner.
Illegal migration, essentially what's happening right now. And that's pretty interesting. That's fascinating to hear.
The difference in the worker culture is shocking. And so countries around the world are facing some flavor of midterm economic collapse as they just lose workforces.
I watch a lot of the border crisis news and border stuff, and it's not unheard of when I see them use an old clip of some kind of, migrants rushing the fence and saying this should just happen today. And you're like, wait a minute, no, that was actually last year, but you're using it as the current. And I see it so often. It's crazy to see.
Yeah.
And you don't ever hear someone talk about the economic, I guess, value of, illegal migration, essentially what's happening right now. And that's pretty interesting. That's fascinating to hear.
It's unfortunately, the flow of people across the southern border has been our single largest input into our population for the last 15, 20 years. And it's been the second largest for almost 50 years at this point. But it's no longer a Mexican story, but it's always been a worker story.
Yeah, absolutely. My mother's side of the family, they were migrant workers, and they were, my grandfather would travel via train to different states that, as the season shifted.
Where the work is.
Right. Exactly.
I used to live in Texas, so it's kind of funny. So I used to live in Texas, and I have come, after 19 years of living in Texas, to equate Mexican workers with quality work. It doesn't really matter to me what it is. It's like I've had so many positive experiences. Then I moved to Colorado, and Denver is the whitest place I have ever lived. And I'm from Iowa, so hopefully that has a little bit of an impact. And the difference in the worker culture is shocking from my point of view in terms of the quality, the hours worked, and all that good stuff. So
really
I'm thrilled that Mexico is America's #1 trading partner. I wish more of them were coming. They're not.
Yeah. Well, right now, currently the numbers, you have almost every other country coming across right now. And one of the lower numbers is going to be the Mexican citizens who are coming across.
Yeah, there's still a fair number of Mexicans coming, but just as many are going back now. And so there's churn, but the overall headline number is flat to negative now. As for the others, that's a relatively new development. One of the things we're seeing around the world is that whole industrialization, urbanization push, which pushes down your birth rate. Well, if that happened 30 years ago, you're now running out of young people who can potentially walk north. But if it happened 70 years ago, now you're running out of working-aged adults. And so countries around the world are facing some flavor of midterm economic collapse as they just lose workforces. And so the people who have portable degrees are looking for countries that they can land where there's rule of law, where there's a consumption-based economy, where there's a place that they can plug in. And for most people, the United States is at the top of that list. So a lot of the folks that we've seen coming from what we consider countries outside of the neighborhood that are now crossing the border are starting to fall into that category. They're still economic migrants, but they're economic migrants with degrees.
And you say portable degrees. Is that like medical degree
type thing?
Medical
would be a great example. Computer science is a great one. Something where the limiting factor on your ability to do your job is not necessarily a lot of equipment. It's up here.
Yeah. That's fascinating. And so you talked about the economic side of it. You mentioned two others that we're just going to put blinders on for now, but can we talk about those now?
Absolutely.